I had another preceptor who actually had completed a fellowship in trauma work, who told me that his advice was to not shake people's hands when I got them from the waiting room, because that was far too much touch between a therapist and their client. Which, I mean, as Megan said, I mean, the power of a hug. And I'll add to that one of the first things I noticed when I changed from psychiatry training to internal medicine was that all of a sudden I could touch my patients again. I could sit on beds, I could touch people's arms or knees or give them hugs. And I mean, I think it was pretty clear that it was helpful to the patients, but as a practitioner of medicine, to be able to have physical contact with my patient, I mean, that was healing for me. And the last story I'll tell you is about my experience with trauma groups at one of the hospitals I was training at, which really was that reductive model. The idea was, how can we train people to have... So it's interesting for me because I had this brief period of time in conventional psychiatry, and I've had an almost equal time in psychedelic psychiatry. And the world between the difference between them is, I mean, as you can imagine and as you've heard, it's unimaginable. Ingrid and I would often joke when we were sort of reflecting on our sessions later, what our teachers would say if they knew what we were doing in that room. I mean, between the body work and the holding patients and the things we were talking about, I mean, what we were doing was pretty radical.